Welcome back. I'm Imana, and this is the Dandelion Chronicles, where we explore healing, faith, growth, and the beauty that can emerge from life's hardest seasons. Before we begin, if these conversations have encouraged or challenged you in any way, I invite you to subscribe, rate, and share the podcast. And if you feel led, share your own stories of healing and growth because your story may be the light someone else needs. Now, let me ask you something. How many of us are truly afraid of being alone? Not physically alone, but emotionally alone. How many of us have stayed in relationships, situations, attachments that slowly drained us simply because emptiness felt more frightening than mistreatment? How many of us search for completion in people while still quietly feeling empty inside? I know I did. And honestly, I think many people do. For much of my life, I believe love looked like what the world taught me: romance, partnership, being chosen, being wanted, happily ever after. And because I believe that, I spent most of my life searching for validation in the created rather than the creator. I kept reaching horizontally for what could only be fulfilled vertically. I believed another person would complete me, heal me, see me, feel the emptiness I carried. But even when I was in relationships, I still felt empty. Not only empty, detached, disconnected from myself, yet constantly searching for attachment to something or someone that would finally make me feel whole. And with every heartbreak, disappointment, betrayal, or unfulfilled expectation, my heart became heavier, not softer, harder. Because disappointment has a way of building layers around the heart: layers of fear, distrust, sadness, self protection, and emotional survival. And eventually, I stopped realizing how guarded I became. I wasn't taught to search for the light. I wasn't taught true fulfillment would come from intimacy with God. I was taught to seek love externally, to seek validation externally, and completion externally. But the light changed me. And when I finally allowed myself to experience the warmth of God's love honestly, it began circumcising the foreskin I had built around my heart from years of disappointment, abandonment, betrayal, and unmet expectations. That hardness around my heart had become protection, or at least I thought it was. But it was also preventing me from fully receiving love, peace, and truth. And slowly, the light softened me, not through force, through love. What moves me most now is realizing God had always been there. Even before I truly knew Him intimately, He had always been protecting, saving, redirecting, preserving, loving, and waiting on me. I just didn't fully recognize Him yet. Because for much of my life, God was more of a concept than a relationship. And because of that, I reached for people I could physically see instead of fully trusted in the God whose presence had quietly surrounded me all my life. But when I truly encountered Him, everything changed. Because unlike people, I didn't have to perform for God. I didn't have to hide my scars or my flaws, hide my fears or my negative emotions. I came exactly as I was, broken, exhausted, searching, and definitely wounded. And He accepted me anyway. The more I began understanding God's love, the more I realized He had always been the perfect companion. He waits, He's patient and kind, He's long suffering, He is merciful. He has not abandoned me. He doesn't manipulate, He doesn't force, He stays. And most importantly, He gave us Jesus because His love for us is so deep that He desired reconciliation even while we were all still lost. That realization changed me profoundly because I spent years searching for the perfect love in imperfect people. And people will fail you, not always maliciously, but because human beings are human. Yet God's love remains consistent, perfect, holy, steady. As I reflect on the verses of 1 Corinthians chapter 13, 4 through 8, I had to ask myself something difficult. Can I honestly say that I love myself that way? Am I patient to myself, kind, gentle, protective of my peace, or forgiving? Or had I just spent most of my life accepting distorted versions of love because I did not yet understand God's definition of it? Most of us confuse attachment, suffering, emotional dependency, and self-abandonment with love. But God's love doesn't require us to disappear. His love restores us. Something else changed too once I began to turn toward the light. I noticed that before intimacy with God, I often attracted people who either preyed on my vulnerability or ignored me completely. And I understand why now. Because emptiness has a way of attracting unhealthy things and people. When people are starving emotionally, they often tolerate inconsistency, manipulation, disrespect, emotional unavailability, and crumbs disguised as love, simply because they fear being alone. The closer I have grown to God, the less desperate I became for validation. And strangely, once I stopped vying to be noticed, I was noticed, because peace changes your presence, wholeness changes your discernment, and when you stop begging to be chosen, you begin recognizing your worth so much differently. I think that's why dandelions move me so deeply now. A dandelion doesn't beg the garden to notice it. It doesn't stop blooming because no one praises it. It simply reaches for the light. That's all. And somehow, what nature already provides is enough for it to grow, bloom, and become fruitful. No applause, validation, or performance, just connection to the source. And spiritually, that source is God, not people or relationships or status or attention or worldly approval, just God. I think many people are not actually afraid of being mistreated. They're afraid of being alone. And because of that fear, they stay attached to relationships that slowly disconnect them from themselves and God. But solitude is not the same as emptiness, and aloneness is not the same as abandonment. Because when you truly know God intimately, you realize you were never alone to begin with. One of the greatest things God revealed to me was this: I was already worthy of love, not because I became perfect, but because He created me. Psalms 139 tells us that we are fearfully and wonderfully made. That scripture became deeply personal to me because for so long I thought something was wrong with me. But God showed me I could come to Him honestly with my negative emotions. I didn't need to hide or perform. I didn't need to become lovable before approaching Him. And while I'm not perfect, God's love is. And somehow, being loved by Him honestly made me desire to change things in my life that led toward death instead of life. Not out of fear, but out of love. Many of us spend our lives searching for love as though it exists somewhere outside of us, hidden in another person's approval, affection, attention, or presence. We search through relationships, attachments, and fleeting moments of validation, hoping someone else will finally quiet the emptiness within us. We convince ourselves that being chosen will make us whole, that companionship alone will heal the ache we carry. But no human being was ever meant to replace the Creator. True fulfillment doesn't begin when another person loves us. It begins when we reconnect to the source of love itself. Jesus says, "I am the vine, and my Father is the vine dresser. Abide in me as I abide in you." A branch cannot survive disconnected from the vine, nor can a soul flourish separated from the one who gives it life. Yet, when we remain connected to Him, we are nourished, strengthened, pruned, and transformed. What once felt barren slowly begins to bloom. And perhaps that's why so many relationships leave people feeling exhausted and incomplete. We often ask others to carry burdens only God was designed to hold. We seek identity in people who are also searching for themselves. We expect human love to heal wounds that require divine restoration. But healthy relationships, whether romantic, familial, or platonic, are not meant to complete us. They are meant to complement the wholeness that begins growing within us through our intimacies with God. Because when you finally encounter the light, truly encounter it, something changes within you. You stop begging the world to define your worth. You stop chasing validation in places that cannot sustain you. You begin to understand that love is not something you must desperately earn, but something that has always been flowing from the Creator within you. And like the dandelion, you simply continue reaching toward the light that has been sustaining you all along. If this episode spoke to you, take a moment to subscribe, rate, and share the podcast. And if you feel led, share your own stories of healing, growth, faith, and discovering peace within yourself and God. Because your story may become the very light someone else is searching for. I'm Imana, and this is Dandelion Chronicles. Until next time, keep growing. And remember, search for your peace and the peace of God within you.